Okay, get this. What if the fix for our biggest modern-day headache, artificial intelligence, isn't some futuristic algorithm, but an idea from the ancient world? We're about to connect some seriously cutting-edge tech to a philosophy that's over 2,400 years old.
You felt it, right? That little nagging feeling when you just blindly follow your GPS into a weird part of town, or you let the streaming service pick your next 3 hours of television. It really gets at this deep anxiety we all have now. Are all these amazing tools we've built actually making us worse at thinking for ourselves?
So much of the talk around AI is about jobs. Will a robot replace me? But what we're digging into today suggests there's a much bigger risk. It's not about losing your paycheck. It's about potentially losing a piece of who you are.
And that brings us to this key idea: moral atrophy. Just think about it. Every time we let a machine make a tough ethical call for us, we're skipping a workout for our own moral judgment. And just like any other muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. That GPS analogy, it's perfect. Sure, it's easy, but over time, you completely forget how to find your own way.
So if we're in danger of getting morally lost, who's got the map? Well, the answer is probably not who you'd expect. We're going way, way back to a philosopher who lived centuries before anyone had even dreamed of a computer.
And here it is, the big idea for this whole explainer. It's not that Aristotle had some secret knowledge about large language models, obviously. The point is that his entire framework for what it means to be a good person gives us an incredible lens for how to build good technology.
For Aristotle, the whole point of, well, everything, life, society, ethics, was something he called human flourishing. It's about becoming the best possible version of ourselves. And if you look at it that way, ethics isn't some list of rules designed to hold technology back. No, it's a guide to help steer our tech toward that ultimate goal of a better, richer human life.
So how do you get to this flourishing state? Through virtue. But for Aristotle, virtue wasn't about memorizing rules. The Greek word he used, hexis, is more like a habit or a mindset. It's that moral muscle we were just talking about. You don't become a brave person by reading a book on bravery. You become brave by doing brave things over and over again.
And this is the absolute key. Phronesis, or practical wisdom. This is not about knowing a set of universal laws. This is about real-world, street-smart ethics. It's that gut instinct, backed up by years of experience, to look at a totally new, messy situation and just know what the right call is. It's what separates human judgment from cold, hard machine calculation.
Okay, so if the big goal is human flourishing, and we get there by practicing virtue, then what's the purpose of our technology? What role should it play?
Well, we're basically facing two completely different paths. On the one hand, you have the Aristotelian view. AI is an intelligent tool, something that helps us, that augments our abilities, and frees us up to be more human. But then there's this other path, the one a lot of people are on, the race to build a machine that perfectly replicates us and, at the end of the day, replaces us.
And why is it so hard to just replicate a person? Because our judgment, that practical wisdom, it's made of all this stuff you just can't program. Yeah, there's knowledge and skill, but there's also emotion, intuition, life experience, and even not knowing. That very human ability to be humble and admit when we don't have all the answers. See, machines have data. We have wisdom.
Now, we have to be honest here. Aristotle was brilliant, but he wasn't a saint. His own philosophies were used to justify horrible things like slavery. And this quote is a really powerful warning for us today. It shows that even the smartest people can fall into the trap of treating other intelligent beings like simple tools. It's a humbling thought as we're designing our own intelligent tools, isn't it?
So if we don't go down Aristotle's path, what's the alternative? Well, there's another major school of thought that tries to solve AI ethics by basically turning morality into a programming language.
And this really shows you the fundamental split. The Aristotle approach on the left is all about character. It asks, what kind of person do I want to be? The other approach, which comes mostly from the philosopher Immanuel Kant, is all about logic and rules. It asks, what is the right action I should take, no matter the situation? And that second approach, well, it's a whole lot easier for a computer to understand.
And that's exactly what's happening. Researchers are literally taking Kant's philosophical rules and translating them into a formal logic that a machine can follow step by step.
And here's a peek at what that actually looks like in practice. This isn't an AI trying to learn from examples. This is a system using pure, cold logic to prove, mathematically, that an action like lying is wrong because it violates a universal principle. It's basically treating ethics like a math problem with one provably correct answer.
But what if our biggest ethical dilemmas aren't math problems? What if they're character tests? So let's swing back to Aristotle's idea and ask, how could we actually design technology that helps build our character, instead of just following rules?
And education is the perfect battleground for this. There's a huge worry that when students use AI to write their essays or solve problems, they're not just cheating, they're cheating themselves out of a chance to practice critical thinking and creativity. They are actively de-skilling themselves. And if that happens on a massive scale, you risk creating a morally de-skilled populace.
But the answer isn't to just ban the tech. It's to design it better. And that's where an idea like the Q-tutor comes in. This is a concept for an AI that's not an answer machine. It's a question machine. Its entire purpose is to make the student a sharper thinker.
And you can see exactly how it would work. Instead of just spitting out the answer, it teaches you how to ask a better question. It nudges you to think about another point of view. It throws what-if scenarios at you to spark your creativity. I mean, this is an AI that's literally designed to be a workout for your brain, to cultivate those intellectual virtues, not let them get soft.
You know, when you really follow this Aristotelian logic, it leads to some pretty big real-world ideas. Like this one. If we agree that some decisions require that special human touch, that practical wisdom, then maybe we actually need a new human right. The right to have a human being make the final call in the most important situations. A right to appeal to a person, not just a system. And really, that's what it all comes down to. Whether we build these systems to follow rigid rules or to help us build character, they're going to be a mirror. They will reflect our values back at us. So the real question isn't, what can AI do? The real question is, who do we want AI to help us become? What virtues do we think are so important that we need to bake them into the code that will shape our future?